Hi, everybody. Excuse me. That's an introduction. This is Cassie with Crowd Chat on the Game Crafter. I am talking today with Julia Grohvner. Did I say that right?
Yep,
Yes.
you
Okay.
said
I had to ask.
that right.
It's
Yep.
definitely not spelled the way you pronounce it. But excuse me. So today what we're talking about is your game Greenhouse that is going to be coming, I think it's on Wednesday is when your
Yeah.
crowd sale is launching.
hmm
Awesome. So if you want to talk a little bit about, excuse me, you talk so I can catch myself. If you want to talk about
Yeah.
Greenhouse, and I know it's got a little bit of a relationship to what you did for school and what your
hmm
degree is in. So if you want to talk
Yeah.
about, I guess, the
Yeah.
background.
So, yeah. I recently graduated from Pacific Lutheran University as a double major in communication and environmental studies. It's kind of a fun combination. Not a lot, and also like graphic design and communications nerds, but I sort of nestle happily in that area. For senior capstone projects at my university, I decided to sort of combine my two capstone projects into something that covers. So for talking about the issue of climate change, it's all about like finding new approaches and new ways to think about and also understand the issue, like not just from the way that's easiest, but talking about like the moralities of it. So I wanted to tackle the fact that the major causes of greenhouse gas emissions come from companies that have like such a large control in things that they don't really care about like what their PR moves are because it just simply makes the most financial sense for
Right.
them to keep polluting. And so in my game, we kind of make a joke out of that where you're now pretending to be those big companies and it's your job to try to make the most money as quickly as possible before the temperature goes up and just cooks the planet. So it's kind of like dark humor in a way, but it's just a way of presenting this aspect of the issue to people that helps them like then apply that to what they think about policy and stuff like that. So they realize that it's not just about like, oh, well, I use a reusable grocery bag. It's like, no, it needs to be tackled on that larger scale.
Right. I was
Yeah.
looking, actually, I'm going to show people right now. I was looking at your crowd sale page and I saw a quote that I was like, oh no. It just made me laugh. It says, oh no.
Yeah. That's like usually like we reach this point where they like start to realize they're like, oh, I don't win this game unless I'm a bad person. And
Right?
if everybody's a bad person, then we all lose the game because the temperature goes up and the planet is destroyed.
So,
So
so in the game, can you win without making the temperature too bad?
yeah, so that's the thing. Is so like I can show off. So
Yeah,
like
definitely.
the point of the game is that like we're using like a little meter. And so like as you like play actions that like cause greenhouse gases to go up, you're like eventually like it's going to start to affect the temperature. And if the temperature increases too much, you get these fun little impact cards. And when I say fun, I mean not fun. Everyone hates them because they do awful things to your
Right.
business. Actually, if it goes like past 4 degrees Celsius, which is kind of like the scary number that's always going around in like the United Nations reports,
Okay.
is you hit your game over where everybody loses. So your objective is to make a certain amount of money. It varies by how many players are in the game because of difficulty, but like you're trying to make basically like $100 before anybody else. And if the temperature cooks the planet before then nobody wins, but you're all sort of racing. And so the cards that make the most money are like your greenhouse gases and your like deforestation. And the cards that don't make as much money but are nice to the planet are things like, oh, like in investing in sustainable packaging and like reducing
Okay.
shipping emissions and stuff like that. And some of them like are encouraging you to do things like collaborate with your other players,
Okay.
but like the core of the game is you don't want to collaborate. You want to just like
Right.
sabotage everybody. You want to make money the fastest. And so people always go into the game thinking, I can win this game and still be nice to the planet. It hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
But that's kind of the challenge of it, Like that's what makes you want to play it again is you're like, I can figure it out next time. I can win and still not destroy the planet.
So does it have cards like that give you recommendations of what you can do in your daily life?
No, because that's the thing is like there are actually a lot of really cool like ways of teaching. Like, this would be ideal for classrooms and stuff like that. And there are a
Okay.
lot of classroom teaching tools that are perfect for teaching individual responsibility. But what I was trying to tackle here is teaching people how there's a difference between individual responsibility and the higher level like industry
I
actions
see.
that are taking place alongside that. So like some of them are sort of like suggestive of things that we can do every day. So like mentioning the fact that like, hybrid cars are more fuel efficient. So people can be sort of inspired by that. Mentioning the fact that like eating rice is like a high methane agriculture product. So they can be like, okay, maybe I should eat less rice. But ultimately, I think even if someone didn't change their individual behavior, but perhaps started like voting or purchasing things differently, that's sort of the main goal of the game is not to, but to understand what businesses are doing every day.
And like you said, it's all about money, where you're investing your
Mm-hmm.
money because your money's going to,
Yes,
the higher ups, like you
exactly.
said.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's like just understanding like the importance of your dollar might not even necessarily be buying that reusable straw if you know that reusable straw comes from a company that is, like mining for their materials
Right.
unsustainably, things like that, where it's like there's a really big picture going on to like what, corporations are doing, and you get to sort of be in their shoes for once, because otherwise it's hard to even think about, like what we're supposed to do or what other people are doing because they have, so much power and they're making such big decisions all the
Right.
time. Yeah.
So you mentioned that it's I just hit my computer. You mentioned that it's focused on big corporations. Do you like? Does it mention the specific corporations, or did you use example?
No.
Okay, okay,
So I avoided using any specific corporations. What I did is you get to like choose like a role that's like a different industry. So like I'm
oh,
the
okay,
retail industry, I'm the construction industry. And so you're sort of playing like these fake companies because yeah, it's like there's a tiny part of me that kind of wants to call out a
right.
couple of companies, but that's not the point, you know.
It's
And
so
if I want,
hard.
Amazon to ever want to sell my game, maybe in the future, I probably shouldn't like be calling out big companies
Right.
right now. And so yeah, that's like that's
That's
the
cool.
compromise that I made to like not be calling out any actual companies, but I think people can understand the
Oh, definitely.
relationships. Yeah.
Do so based off of which category you pick, do you have like something specific, like a specific?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
you get a bunch of specific actions
Oh,
that you can
cool.
play. So like you basically there's like a deck of like general cards, and then you get your own cards that you get to add that are like the different colors. So the culture is the yellow color, and sort of shuffle your deck together and you have the
Okay.
two. So you can do the general, so that's like fossil fuels versus like there are some things that only like the agriculture industry can do, such as like things that are resistant to climate temperatures. Like
Oh, okay.
so you have like that's your like individual strategy, and then there's also some cards like this vegan diets card, which you can only play if the other character with that other color that's on the card agrees to like play it with you, basically. So you like start forming like business relationships and stuff like that,
Okay.
which sort of encourages some people to team up and then like start sabotaging other people because we love just causing our
Well,
friends to
that's kind of how
playing
it
a
would
game.
happen, I think, in real
Yeah,
life anyway.
yeah,
So I
mm.
like that the game is like co-op competitive, because like you
Yeah,
said, you're
yeah,
not trying to get past the 4 degrees Celsius, but you're also trying to win.
yeah. You're still trying. Yeah, you can't win together. Only one person can win, but at the same time, if we lose, everybody loses. So that's what kind of makes it interesting, and that's frankly how it actually works. And capitalism is that like you don't want to ruin everything for everybody, but it is about you making money, not about other people
It
making money.
is, right.
So that's kind of, I just wanted it to reflect those actual motivations, which is
That's pretty
again why
cool.
people start to freak out while playing this game because they realize that like there really is no incentive to be nice. And if they apply that logic then to how things are actually working in the real world, they're like, oh no, the big companies don't have any incentive to be nice right now. And that's the point, is that it's gonna freak
Right.
you out a little bit, but hopefully you'll have fun.
Right. Like I was showing, or I was looking at some of the other ones. It's depressing, also fun.
Yep, that's the vibe. That's the point of the game.
Makes an unfortunate amount of sense. I really like those were just great quotes. I
Yeah,
was like, oh no, I kind of need
yeah,
to play this game.
yeah.
Um,
It definitely elicits interesting reactions.
yeah, but those are great because they're like getting, you're getting the reaction you wanted. Is they're enjoying it, but they're also not enjoying it
Yeah,
for the right reasons. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly.
So you mentioned earlier something about using it in classrooms and teaching, and I know you said that's one of the reasons why you're going with the time frame that you have. Do you want to talk about?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
did you want to talk about that and how it's going to be used in classrooms?
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to like push my time frame for completing this so that I could be selling it during the summer, so that over the course of doing it as a capstone project, a lot of
That's
professors that
great.
were very into class. I have a lot of friends that are like high school and elementary school level teachers, and this game is basically, as long as you have basic math skills to do the numbers part of it, basically anybody can play it. I made sure that I didn't make any inappropriate jokes, as tempting as it might be sometimes. Um, so the idea is that like a lot of times when you're like, I have friends who have taken their first environmental course type of thing, and they're just like, I had no idea how bad things were, and that can be pretty depressing, but this sort of translates that into like a more interesting way of learning about it. And I also apply some environmental science to it, so that the cards are all based on like the emissions that are in the cards are relative of actual emissions,
Oh,
and then
okay.
those emissions relate to actual like rates of temperature increase for the amount of greenhouse
So
gases.
it's
Like
actually
I made like, yeah, I made up like fake units, like a GHG is a greenhouse gas, but that represents something like, 2 gigatons of carbon dioxide
oh, okay.
equivalent. I think I wrote it down somewhere in the game so that you can have the exact number if you care. But
Right.
at this point, I did the math so long ago, I can't remember.
Well, how long have you been working on the game?
I've been working on it for like basically a year now.
Oh, wow, that's
It
great.
took up the majority of my senior year, so minus a couple of months, about a year, and it was kind of crazy because I was doing it in addition to all my other classes,
Yeah, I can't
and
imagine.
most capstone projects don't involve making an entire card game. It's like, oh, just write a paper about something, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's a big project to
I'm making
choose.
a card game. Yeah, so it's been a lot of hard work, but it's been really fun for me, and I just really enjoy like games and graphic design, and those are like things that I got to use, even though they had nothing to do with the research and paper parts of it. I was just like, look at these
Yeah,
pretty
right?
cards.
So how did
Yeah.
you hear about the Game Crafter? Did you already know about it or
Um, yeah, so, back in the day, I thought that this wouldn't be a thing that I could actually sell. But then people started saying to me, like, no, wait a second, like, you should actually try to, like, take this thing so that, like, people can use it. And I was trying to think of the band. Like, so I want there to be two options. One, if you're an educator, I will go online after the crowd sale so that you can print it out if that's just what's in your budget. But I thought it would be more reasonable to actually have a way for them to get like an actual playable. And so I was just like, how do I do that? And then Google is your friend, and I found you guys, and I
right?
was like, this is perfect. The crowd sale model is perfect because if I did a Kickstarter, it would be to like get a manufacturer and really try to make profit out of this thing. But really, it's like I only want people who actually want to play this game. Like the teachers who are interested in it. Like, I have a full-time job. This isn't like my business venture. It's
Right.
just I think this is a cool tool for people to have, and the Game Crafter makes that really possible at like a reasonable kind of production thing where it's just like however many people want to order it, we'll make that many copies and then do it for the best price we can. And I think that's a great
Yeah, I'm looking
idea.
at. I brought up the website again so people could see. I think it's $34.99. Is what the starting is, but it jumps like pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Especially like once you get to 10 copies, it's down to $29.20, which
yeah,
is
yeah.
a
Really
significant
want.
discount.
I want fact that I'm still trying to make like a couple dollars so I can make up for just the
Right.
costs of making it. But like besides that,
Well,
just
then you
trying
have the
to,
art that you have to invest in, and
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
all the time
yeah.
you invest in play testing.
Yep. Technically, I didn't have to purchase any art because I'm also a graphic designer, but at the same time, it's a lot of hours,
Yeah.
and I need,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
If you were to pay
So
yourself, you know.
yes, yes, my work has value.
Yeah.
What every graphic designer tells themselves every day is like a little mantra. It's like my work has value. I matter.
I know. The artist's life is not an easy life for sure.
Yeah.
Well, at least you have, other
Yeah.
stuff
It's
going
a fun
on.
life though. You get to make card games,
Yeah, definitely. So you're launching on Wednesday. I'm
Yes.
trying to see if I had any other questions because I think we kind of touched over everything. And I know it said that it's going to be out around August. So that'll definitely meet your teacher
Yeah.
deadline, which is what you wanted.
Yeah.
Do you have any? I don't think I have any other questions. Do you have anything in the future that you're planning on making? Since you've made one game now, are you kind of tossing ideas for another game?
Um, I'd kind of like for a minute, but unfortunately, like I think I discovered this in like forums about stuff like that, where it's like once you start designing a game, you get like bitten by this
Mm-hmm.
bug that like fills you with other game ideas. So like, of course, I have other game ideas. Am I crazy enough to immediately start another game? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna feel
That's
after the
great.
crowd sale. Maybe I'll just have another psychotic moment and be like, make it another one. But for now, I kind of want Greenhouse to have its moment.
Cool.
And just take it easy for a little while.
Yeah, definitely.
Just have one job for a while.
And now you're
Would be
done with
great.
school, right? So you can just like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, take a breather,
You know,
enjoy your
chill out.
game.
Yeah. Some time to play it, perhaps.
Yeah, right. That's the hardest part is when you make a game. People think that you're playing games all the time, and you're not. You're just testing games all the time.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, I don't have any other questions or anything. Is there any? Oh, I did have one thing. I saw that you have the fake money add-on for.
Yes. So that's sort of an inside joke where, like, when I was making the game, I figured, oh, well, we should, like, by just having people, like, use any kind of real coins or whatever to count money, because it's not a huge part of the game, how you're counting the money. And I had some friends that were, like, complaining about that. They're like, but I don't, like, why don't you just make money in the game? And I was like, but that would be wasteful. And so I decided as a joke to make it available, but as an add-on, so that you have to feel guilty if you're buying fake money exclusively for this game. And yeah, so it's an option. It doesn't cost that much, but like when I was first making the game, I was using like poker chips that I got from the thrift store. I feel like it's really easy to play it with anything. The first time I ever play tested the game, we used Starburst as money. So
exactly.
You can do whatever you want. The fake money is obviously designed to go along with the game, but I just thought I'd make you feel guilty for that extra, like, you're wasting a little more paper and I'm going to make you feel bad.
It was funny. I was thinking when I was looking at this, I was like, okay, I totally need this game. And when I saw the add-on, I was like, oh, I mean, I want it, but now I kind of don't. So it definitely did what you were hoping it would do. It was pretty funny.
That's sort of the joke, and I don't know, like, long term, perhaps I just need to make it a part of the game, but I thought it was too funny to resist making it that add-on.
No, that was pretty good.
Yeah, so that's, that also goes along with, it launches with the crowd sale, so, yeah.
Cool, yeah, so that was all that I had to ask about and inquire about for the game. Do you have anything that you want to bring up before I let everyone know about some other stuff going on with the Game Crafter?
I guess just I feel obligated to say, even if you don't play this game, pay attention to legislation and watch for, people that support, like, climate change abatement agendas, as opposed to, right now there's a lot of, like, believing in pseudoscience and stuff like that. And I promise that if you look into the facts, like, climate change is real, it's happening, and we should do something about it, like, not just in our everyday lives, like, with the most powerful things we have, which is our dollars and our votes. Yeah.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Julia. And
thank you so much. It was great.
Yeah. I think you're actually the first woman I've had on the show, so it was kind of exciting for me.
Yes.
I know.
Making big strides.
Hey, yo. All right, so
Yeah.
I'm going to show some people. I'm going to go to the web real quick here, everybody, to show you. There's a crowd sale that's live right now. So before you go to get Greenhouse on Wednesday, if you want to get another game for yourself, over here we have Iron Helm that's doing phenomenally right now. It has 241 copies sold, which is amazing. It's at $30.20 if you're looking to get, like I said, something. And this is a solo game, so if you're looking for something that you can play by yourself because none of your friends will play with you, like me, then you got something here for you. And the other thing I wanted to mention is over here, the Game Crafter is still celebrating their 10-year anniversary for this month of July. So if you go ahead and place an order, you're going to get a certificate between the value of $1 and $99. And they're also throwing in little surprise goodies that they're edible and they're delicious little goodies. So that's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, thank you so much again for being on the show, everybody, for watching the show, and I'll see you all next week on Crowd Chat. And don't forget to check out Greenhouse.
Yay!
All right,
Bye.
bye everyone.